the climate emergency, recovery from a global pandemic, an assault by the UK government on the powers of our own Parliament, and the consequences to our economy, society and our place in the world of a disastrous Brexit that Scotland did not vote for. And yet, despite the magnitude of those challenges, many of them global, today's politics can too often feel small, polarised, divided and incapable of meeting the moment. This agreement is intended to change that in Scotland. It is about doing politics and governance better. Cooperation and collaboration in place of division and acrimony is, in my view and indeed my experience, what most people want to see much more of from their politicians. It is also essential if we are to find the solutions needed to solve the problems confronting the world today. And of course, that spirit of cooperation and consensus building is very much in keeping with the founding principles of the Scottish Parliament. Our parties will, of course, retain our distinctive identities. This is not a coalition, and we do not agree on everything, but we are coming out of our comfort zones to focus on what we do agree on. Despite all of the risks inherent in any decision of two parties to cooperate more closely, we are choosing to work together. And we are doing so not out of political necessity, but for the common good. The agreement delivers bold policy action on pressing issues, a commitment to more affordable housing, a better deal for tenants and action to tackle poverty and inequality, steps to accelerate our transition to net zero, more support for active travel, transformation of home energy and a 10-year transition fund for the North East of Scotland, a focus on green jobs and fair work and a sustainable recovery from COVID, and action to improve mental health and reform public services, including the establishment of a national care service. We also, in this agreement, reaffirm our shared commitment to securing independence for Scotland and to giving people the right to choose our country's future through a referendum. The agreement also sets out the processes of cooperation and consultation that will enable a stable parliamentary majority for the delivery of the Scottish Government's legislative and policy programme. And as part of that, for the first time ever in UK politics, it will see Greens enter national government as ministers, working in a spirit of common endeavour, mutual challenge and collective responsibility to deliver for the people we serve. Now, in the coming days, this agreement will be scrutinised by our respective parties. I will commend it strongly and wholeheartedly to mine. But the publication of this agreement today undoubtedly marks an historic moment. It recognises that business as usual is not good enough in the times we are living through. It grasps that out of great challenge, a better world and a better Scotland is capable of being born. But it understands that achieving it will take boldness, courage and a will to do things differently. That is what we offer. I want to thank the Scottish Greens for the constructive process that has led us to this Butte House agreement today and say how much I hope that we will work together in the years ahead to secure the greener, fairer, independent Scotland that we know is possible. I'll now ask Patrick and then Lorna to say a few words before we take questions from the media. Patrick.
Thank you, First Minister. This is indeed a historic moment. This deal would see the Greens entering government for the first time ever in Scotland or anywhere in the UK. And it couldn't come at a more important time. The last 18 months have been an incredibly difficult time for us all. And as we seek to rebuild our lives and our economy, we really must seek to do things differently. We must build a fairer, compassionate country. And we must do everything in our power to tackle the climate and nature emergencies and deliver a just transition for all of Scotland. And that's what this deal will do. It means that our parties will be working together to deliver a bold and ambitious programme to deliver a green recovery from COVID, a new deal for tenants, and a fundamental change in approach on transport. It will put two Green ministers into the heart of government, advocating for the climate and for a fairer, greener Scotland. But fundamentally, it's also a new approach to politics. The SNP and the Scottish Greens our different parties. We agree on some things, disagree on others, and those distinctive voices can and will remain. That's why this isn't a coalition in the traditional sense, but that mustn't mean that we can't cooperate for the good of the people of Scotland, our climate and our environment. To work together where we've got common ground, challenge each other to deal with disagreements constructively, and yes, to deliver a referendum on independence when we emerge from the pandemic, as both of our parties pledged to do in the recent campaign. Next week, Scottish Green Party members will have the decision on whether we take this historic step, and I look forward to engaging with them in the days to come. Together, we can, and I believe will, make history.
The UN scientists at the IPCC last week confirmed what we all already know from the images of fires and floods across the world. The climate crisis is accelerating, and we have to act now. The stakes simply could not be higher. And with the COP26 climate conference coming to Scotland, we are in a position to show real leadership on climate. We need to cut Scotland's emissions fast. Here are 3 ways that this deal would do that. 1, we would deliver a radical shift in transport spending. 10% of all transport spend would go towards making cycling, walking and wheeling safe and accessible for all. And we would invest £5 billion over this Parliament in Scotland's rail network. 2, we cannot tackle the climate emergency without improving Scotland's homes and buildings. We have therefore agreed an accelerated and expanded £2.8 billion programme that would support everyone to make the changes that we need over the coming decade. 3, we would accelerate the rollout of renewables and double the size of the onshore wind industry, creating thousands of good quality jobs. As an engineer from this sector, I am particularly excited about this. This deal is about people as well as planet. Together, we would deliver a new deal for tenants, giving tenants more rights, introducing rent controls to help tackle Scotland's housing crisis. We would make bus travel free for young people, create a new national park, and much more. The Scottish Parliament was founded upon the principles of accountability, democratic participation, and equality. We, as elected representatives, must constantly strive to live up to these principles, and it could not be more important than just now. And that is why we are proud of this agreement that we are publishing today. It's why we are pledging to work together to build a greener, fairer, and independent Scotland. And it's why we are recommending this agreement to our parties.